Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I think I introed that the exact same way that I've introed the rest. Whatever. Hi, welcome. We have a new episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming. And thank you for watching. I am here. I am Peter, and this is my grandfather before he croaks. So we are here for a new episode. Off camera is the wonderful and lovely Catherine. You can say hi in the distance.
Hello.
Okay. She may come in a little bit to give some opinions on something we're going to talk about. But for now, she's just doing homework and things. Let's go right into it because I have some stuff to bring up. So last episode, we spoke about a myriad of things. And one of the things we said we were going to talk about this episode was having to do with first dates. We were going to basically portray how we would not provide, how we would schedule a first date. If we met someone, what would a first date for us be in an attempt to schmooze and get a second date out of the person? With that, we asked the audience and our listeners to provide us contact however you can, social media, phone, whatever. Contact us and tell us a story of your first dates, good, bad, and ugly, and in between. And I got a story from someone I know. I'm going to choose to keep their name hidden just because. But yeah. So I'm going to read it, and then we can go into how we would give our first dates. So this is going to be quoted from them, so I may be live editing a little bit so that it's understood, because I think there's some like misspells. So this person says, they guess it was more of a pattern and not a story for dates. So instead of, so they picked a place, some casual place that they like a bubble tea, boba place. That way, oh, I see. So this is something that, wait. Oh, so this is how they would set their first date, okay? And then I'll tell you their story. They would, pick a place that they like that is casual, like bubble tea or something that's, casual, so that if something bad happens, it's easy to sort of walk away and it's not a big investment. And it doesn't like ruin the place for you or the other person.
That's funny.
It's so that you don't try somewhere new and the first experience you have is this bad date. And then number two is, since it's casual and it's only tea, they'd be sitting, is a sitting place, so they don't, and if they don't vibe well, they can end the date right there. And if not, there are about 4 restaurants in the area of this boba place that they picked, that are about 2 to 5 minutes walking distance to choose from. So what this person is saying is they picked this sort of cafe, and it's a great place because if it's bad, great, no harm. Boba, nice conversation. If it's good, there's restaurants all around that they can walk to and hang out and go deeper into. Wonderful. I then asked if they had any stories, and I wasn't told the whole thing, but this is quote from them. I've only had one really monumental date where I remember it was bad, but content-wise, it was not the vibe. Long story short, no more than 5 minutes, 5 questions in, homie asked if I was trans. So if you want to discuss appropriate first date questions, that might be a good convo. So, and for reference, this person is a woman, has always been a woman, was born a woman, is a woman. And 5 questions in, her first date person asked if she was trans. Extraordinary. And I will also say on here, she is a big fan of you. And she thinks you're very funny. Yes,
Of
and she
me?
thinks you're very
Oh,
funny.
okay.
So that's a wild conversation. I don't know how I'd react. I don't know how upset she was. I don't like, she didn't give me the full bit, but if that happened to me, I don't know if I'd cry, get angry, or just like accept it and walk away. Um, but nonetheless, that's a tough one. So let's now go into what we would do. You go first. We can do two things. We'll set up what would be a first date, and then we can set up questions and things that we would ask on a first date. So let's do the event first, right? So go first. What's an event that you would create for a first date?
Okay, first of all, I'm big time with first dates.
Okay.
Okay. If I see in my day, if I saw a woman that I liked, I was big time setting up a very memorable date. And you want me to describe my first date? I might have described it to you before with your grandmother,
Sure.
because that's the most memorable date I could remember,
Okay.
because it changed my life. Okay. I was quitting teaching. I think I told you this, after many years. And I was in a restaurant in Queens called Stratton's. And I was with my friend, who should rest in peace, Lenny. I won't mention his last name. And I was supposed to take him to the airport. And we're at Stratton's, and I'm having a drink and a little bite to eat. And they're sitting at a table, this beautiful woman. I mean, absolutely gorgeous, with this older woman who not so much. And they're there drinking. And I had seen your grandmother at a club in Queens. She was working there. She was a single mom, and she was able to make good money as a waitress there. And I had seen her at Stratton's before, but I never approached her. And this time I said, I'm not letting it go by. This woman is too fine. So without planning it or anything, I went over and I said, what are you drinking? And I bought her martini, and I said, can I buy you anything? And we were talking, and on the screen was the racing from, I believe it was from Belmont Racetrack. And we had an OTB only a block away. And I said, oh, look at that. The race is coming up. How about I make a bet for you? And there was a horse there. Now remember this name, because it's significant. Tampa's Dream. Tampa's Dream. So, and remember, this is 1976. I went out and I walked over. She says, yes, I want to play Tampa's Dream, because she always would go into the West Coast with her parents when she was younger. And I played $20 to win for her. And the horse won. So that was our introduction. We're talking. She was very sweet, but oh my God, was she gorgeous. I mean, and I said to my friend, Lenny, you got to take a cab. I'm not leaving. And he says, okay, I got you. And I said to her, listen, can I take you out for dinner? You can bring your friend if you want. Now, Stratton's was an excellent restaurant, but I didn't want to take her to Stratton's. She says, okay, but where you want to take me? And I had remembered going over into Rockaway there was a wonderful restaurant that I thought I called the Bamboo East that I saw, I think, on Goodfellas movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, would you like to go to dinner with me? She says, well, you know what? You have a sweet face. But I'm not dressed, she said. So she got in her car and she lived in Astoria. I never in my life been to Astoria. I didn't know how to get there. I followed her and I waited 2 hours, 2 blocks away, because I was already dressed nice for her to come. I did not go in the house because I was a stranger, and your mother was only 10 years old, was in the house. No, she wasn't. She was at your great grandmother's, but she wouldn't let me in the house. And she came down and we drove all the way out to the Bamboo East. I think that was the name of the restaurant. Because I asked her, what does she like to eat? She said lobsters. So we went there, and that was our first date. And then the second date that I planned was very short. I told her, you don't have to get dressed up. You're going to Al's place. And she says, Al's place? Yeah, it's a surprise. You know, like you surprise Catherine. It's
Yes.
a surprise. Okay. I pick her up. And at this time, I had a nice apartment on Queens Boulevard. And I happened to be a good cook. And she comes in my house. And this is because she trusted me. You know, in those days, you know, it was difficult for a woman to come to a guy's house. And it was like 1976.
You know, in those days, pre-dinosaurs had just died, credit scores hadn't been enacted, and women just got the right to vote. That's
right. And I had gotten a nice 3-pound lobster. You're very funny. I got a nice 3-pound lobster, and I caught that sucker, killed him, threw him in the boiling water, stuffed him with crab meat, put him in the broiler, and let him sit there. And I picked your grandmother up and brought her to Al's place. Al's, that was the second date. And I had a lot of martinis and a lot of hugs and kisses.
Yeah.
And then I took her home, and she never forgot that she found somebody who could cook, and she said who was exceedingly cute. And I could not disagree with her. And that was the second date. So I like to go big time on my dates. It's not the same as it is today.
Oh, absolutely not. And it's going to be shown by mine in a minute.
Yep.
But that's really good.
But it paid off because we were married within a year. And until she passed, we were married for almost 41 years. So it passed. It was worthwhile. Good investment.
Good investment. Yeah.
That's right.
So I'm not going to go off of the first date that Catherine and I had because we met at college and our first date was the food court. So that's not, our first date, if you consider when we met the first date, because we ended up like, I know, but like it was the food court and then it was the gym with the event. So if you consider that like the first date, I don't really talk about that. Why? What do you consider the first date?
I think we had our first date with a sunset view.
Okay. Oh, you're talking about at the Skyline.
Yeah.
All right. That's a fair one. It's on par with what I would say. So I'll, for those, I don't know if it was heard on the podcast I was just discussing with Catherine about our first date. So for reference, I met her at college 4 years ago. 4 plus or four? No, four, because the thing said
Yeah, four.
4 years ago. Met her 4 years ago on campus. It was like the beginning of the semester. And just randomly, she came up to me and said, "I like your shoes." And I went, "Thanks." Thought she was really cute. So I was in line for the pasta bar. Her
But then
and her
you,
friend.
but then you realized she had an eyesight problem because you weren't wearing shoes, right?
Yeah. No, I was in line for the pasta bar and I saw her and her friend and I thought she was cute, but it was more of like I wasn't looking for a relationship. I was just like, oh, she's cute, great. Let me get my pasta. And at one point I caught something about, oh, he's cute. And I was like, there's only another woman in front of them. So I guess they're talking about me. I heard something. I was like, I think they're talking about it. And then she complimented me on my shoes. I was like, yes, okay. She thinks I'm cute. Nice. I was hoping that it was her. I was interested in her and whatever. And then that was it. Nothing else came from it. I ate my meal. I left. I was hanging out with one of my friends. That night was some like welcome back and event at the gym for everyone who's on campus. And it was like a blow up obstacle course, ring toss, free like toys if you can spin the wheel, whatever, bunch of shit. And randomly, by chance, her and her friend, me and my friend showed up at the same time. And we ended up seeing each other out of like hundreds of people that were there, right? It wasn't just like, it was by chance, unless she stalked me, which she doesn't admit to this day. No, she didn't. But anyways, we ended up hanging out and having a good time there. So if that's the first date, I don't really call that the first date. She calls the first date after that, which is on our campus. We had what we called a skyline, which was this open view from our campus. You could see New York City from however far it was. And it was a beautiful, beautiful view. And the sun would set behind you, but it reflected off the buildings, and it was a gorgeous view. I was working and I met her there and we had a wonderful night talking until the sun went down. That was our first quote unquote date. If you had to ask me, how would I schmooze her if I had to do it all over again, if I knew and I was like, I want that one, if it was, how would I do the first date with her now? As I am today, I would probably do two things. I would start off with a cafe, light tea, coffee, whatever, some scones, good conversation, get to know the person, make sure they're not someone that I don't want to be with, or at least someone I don't even want to talk to. Like, I gotta make sure I get to know them. And then after that, I would probably go to some park that has some mild hiking on it, because I would like to go for a nice walk around a park or somewhere that has mild hiking. Like near me, there's a place called Nanarar Park, and it's this really, really nice, originally owned by some prince who gave it to his kids, and then it became a park. Really, really nice, and it has a various hikes on it, but it also just has a nice big park area. So I would probably go there and then talk more, grab some snacks and hang out. And that would be my first date. Because for me, when I had first dates, given that I've been with her for 4 years, and prior to that, I didn't really have a first date with anyone for years before that. Prior to her, my first date was when I was in like high school, and it was whatever money I had from a month's worth of allowance and whatever my mom could drive me to. So, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't much of a choice.
I mean,
So if I had,
five times four,
yeah, $5 a month.
but a week times four.
It wasn't even a week. If he remembered enough, it was a week. But it was like,
Mm.
yeah, $20 a month if he remembered.
Yeah.
So, but I think at the age I'm at now, with the money that I have now, which is still slim to none, I would still choose somewhere along the lines of a cafe and then a park or a small, like cute town to walk around, like Clinton, for example. With the spinning wheel and the waterfall, you can feed ducks, something
Very
that's
nice.
calm and nice, but allows me to be able to have a good time, but be able to also focus on getting to know the person, because getting to know the person is important for me.
Mhm.
Because they can look like the greatest person in the world, but if they're not a good person, no thanks. Um, so that would be my first date. And if they don't like that, that's tough. I'm more of someone who I have my first date, and if it's something you're not interested in, no worries. Like I don't blame you. That's fine. I'm not necessarily trying to go for the second date. Like if the second date comes, great. But if it doesn't, that's fine. I'm not shooting and hoping and trying to get that success rate, because the goal is not to get the second date. The goal is to enjoy the time. Uh, so yeah, that would be my first date. And then if I got the second date would then be, depending on what it is, either a legitimate hike. If we're talking now, where I'm at now, it would either be a legitimate hike, dinner, or if they're a video gamer, then maybe like a video game night or something. I don't know. Something along those lines. But
Yes.
still relatively light on the wallet and light on the event. I wouldn't go out onto like a heavy event or a very expensive event until I knew this is someone that I want to spend time with. So,
Okay, so I can see the contrast, but uh, I can just tell you this. In my day, when I was your age, I could see it. You know, when I could see it when I was in college, or let's say I could understand it. I described to you a date when I was uh, 33 years of age.
well, right, and
Uh,
that's
yeah,
understandable. That's
yeah,
totally
yeah.
understandable. But
And if I would have said to another woman, a woman who was my age or around my age, that we're going to go for coffee, and then we're going to go for a hike, she would tell me to go take a hike.
right. Well, you got to find the type
Yeah,
of person that's interested in that kind of
yeah,
outdoorsy stuff. I don't blame it. Not everyone's into hikes. Not
yeah.
everyone's,
I
and
know.
mind you, when I say a hike, I'm talking like a light walk. I'm not talking like up a mountain. That'll be like the
Hmm.
fifth day. But if
Hmm.
like a light hike, something that's like you just bring sneakers and a jacket, and we're just like going around the lake, or
Okay, but that's
twice
very
around the park,
nice.
Gimli. Something
That's
subtle.
Yeah, that's very nice. Very
Something,
can be
yeah.
very romantic what you said. Okay,
Um,
I could
and
understand it.
I think for me, it's interesting because I haven't. It's weird to reoccur this, and I guess it's weird for you because you haven't had to deal with this in decades. For me, it's weird because I've been with my person for 4 years now, and prior to that, I wasn't with anyone for 2 years, and prior to that, I was with a not great person, very quite awful person.
Hmm.
So I haven't needed to use this type of like mindset in so long that it's weird to think about like, what are the questions to ask someone that I've just met, and like how would I keep them to like go on another date? Because I like these are questions that I've asked and her and I have had for years, so we've already answered them.
Well, you know what
Um,
the key is, Peter? The key is listen.
Always.
One of the downfalls is you go on a date, and all the one person does, like the male, all he does is talk.
Yes.
Talk, 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 talk. The whole key is listen. A
Right.
woman, a woman likes to know that you're listening to her. It's very
That's very
important.
true. Well, I find it interesting because it's always it was I had used that sort of mentality when I was learning how to converse better with people. When I still had a bit of social anxiety and I was still learning how to communicate better, a simple and small tip that gave me a lot of help and uh, courage to talk to other people was, no matter who it is, whether you're on a date or not, ask people about themselves. Even if you're not actually interested, be interested slightly in what they're talking about or who they are, because people
Mhm.
love to talk about themselves. And if you ask questions that are slightly pertinent to what they're talking about, whether you're actually interested or not, obviously don't be a dick about it, be completely fake. But if you're someone who struggles with sort of having small talk and conversations like that, listening for something about what they said, and if you genuinely don't know, or maybe you do know but you just want them to keep talking, ask them, oh, what is that, like, what does that mean? Most people will love to talk about it, and they will look at you and go, oh, you're a great conversationalist.
Yes,
Meanwhile, they
but
just spoke with themselves.
yeah,
it's
but
it's a small and sort of beginner's trick for people who are learning to gain confidence on having conversations in small talk.
yeah. And the
Um,
biggest turnoff for me has always been when you're having a conversation and you're listening, where the other party is always talking about their exes. And
Yeah, I
I,
used to I
I,
used to have a small I remember when I was in high school, I used to have a small sort of mental checklist of, if I was ever meeting someone new, if the majority of the conversation wrapped around a certain set of topics, I was immediately turned off. And one of them was exes. Another one was like, if I'm talking to them and every chance they get, they're on their phone. Because I met a couple people like that, where, less so for you, because when you were dating it, there weren't really cell phones. But for me, there was people that I met who, I'm on a date, like this is a individual date. This is not just like a hangout. It was a date,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to talk to you. And you only look at me when you're talking. But when I'm talking, you're looking at your phone and not paying attention. And it was something that was very important to me because it shows you weren't listening, or half listening. So yeah, certain small things like that were little triggers for me that were like, oh, okay, this is not someone who I'm really interested in, even if it's adolescence, even if it's immaturity. They can find and grow with someone else. I don't need to be the person to teach them that. Thanks though.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And one of my cardinal rules, and I try to find out before we went on a date with the small talk, was, are you married or are you separated? I will not go out with would not go out with a woman who was married or separated. And then
fair.
if she would push and say, but I've been separated, I wouldn't do it. I would never go out. Let me ask you a question.
I never had to deal with that issue, because I was 16 at the time,
yeah,
and
well,
when I met her,
even
20.
yeah, yeah, even when I was in my late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, but we're at separate times. The only people who are getting married at my age right now are Mormons and like deep Christians in the Midwest. So unless you are of that scope, most are not getting married at this age.
Oh, I wasn't
You were
asking about.
married with a kid and a home by 25. So
No, 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 no. I
different.
wasn't asking about getting married. I was asking, were they married? Because
What
I
I
didn't.
know, but what I'm saying is, like, I never had to worry about asking if
Yeah,
people were married because it was assumed no, because 95% of the people that I've met, no, 99% of the people that I've met, uh, and about 95% of the people around my age are most likely not going to get married within the next year or two.
Mhm.
One, financial; two, it's America and they hate people; and three, because this is not that type of generation. So you guys were getting married at 17, 18, 19, 20. You getting kids in a house 23. You had a full-blown career by 27. You're in retirement by 40.
You're funny. You're funny. I mean, yeah, we're in retirement by 40 after paying for two kids' braces, two kids' colleges. Yeah,
College was
we
like
retired.
$8.
Yeah,
Braces was
$8.
like
No,
$30.
$7. Yeah, okay.
Oh, my bad.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So let me ask you a question. What was your worst date ever?
Oh, worst date ever. That's interesting. Um, I don't think I've had any like monumentally royally screwed up dates. I don't think I've had awful ones. Um, I've been lucky, thank God. I I don't know. Oh, I guess we can call this one a date. Um, you're gonna know this one too. Um, so when I was in high school, I went to a variety of proms because I had friends from different high schools and some didn't have people, they couldn't ask people. So I was like, oh, I'll go with you. Why not? I like, they seem like fun. I like to go to parties and stuff and dance. Cool. Went to this one friend. Um, this was, I think, the year I went to three. I went to my own and then two others, I think. Because it was two friends, they didn't have people. So, anyways, went to this prom. This person was a wonderful person. I knew her for a good while at this point. Good while meaning like I think at that point I'd known her for about a year. And um I'm trying to think of how to say this without giving too much context because I don't want to give too much. Whatever, screw it. They were in my theater organization when I was in high school. I did community theater, went to their prom. I ended up getting paraded around and shown off to all of her friends because I guess it was sort of like expected that she was going to come alone because I didn't really get to converse with her. I didn't really get introduced to any of her friends. I was sort of just left in the corner and I sort of developed and started talking with some people at the event because we went to her house before, took a party bus to the event, to the prom, and then I went home from there after it was over. But I, from the moment I got there, I was sort of neglected in the sense of she didn't introduce me to anyone. She didn't really, she showed me off and said, here's my prom date. And everyone was like, oh my God. And then I was sort of left alone. And then we got to the prom, and the people who weren't at her house were like, oh my God, is this your prom date? And they're all talking to each other, and I'm just standing there watching. And that was almost the entire night. I think I had one dance with her, and then the rest of it was me sitting and eating because she went and like danced with friends. Um, so yeah, I think that can arguably be my worst, shall we say, date, because I was sort of just used and abused as sort of a trophy to say that, oh, look, I got a date. And and after that too, there was very little conversation with me. There was no recognition. There was no after that because the theater had ended for the summer. No contact, very little contact, no conversation, no nothing. And it was really, really weird. And even her friends by the end of the night had picked up on certain things that were like, why is she not paying attention to you? Like, why is she not dancing with you, but she's dancing with her other guy friends? So that was my worst date.
Okay. Should I? You know what my worst date was, right?
Was it the snake?
No, I wouldn't tell that one. Catherine's here. Because that was just a joke. But oh yes. That's correct. I thought you were talking about the tree. But
No, I'm talking about the snake.
Oh yeah. So remember, I was married prior the first time, and then for like 7 years, I was a bachelor, and I was really getting sick and tired of dating. I wanted my privacy. I could not stand women asking me, what are you doing on Friday? What are you doing on Saturday? How come you're not taking me out on Saturday? You're only taking me out on Friday. And I had met this exotic dancer. Okay. First date, she says to me, let's go back to my house. Pick me up. I'm dancing at a certain spot. And it happened to be a mafia place. Yes, there is the mafia. And I waited for her outside. She came out and she says, I want to go home. I want to shower. I want to change. I got to feed my pet. And I says, okay, what the heck? Who knows what's going to be? And I think this was about 5 years before I met your grandmother. And I go, she had a basement apartment. I mean, basement. And I walk into the apartment. It was big, but very funny smell. And I'm not going to tell her, boy, this smells. I'm kind of one of these smells that if you get it on your clothes, it's not going to come off.
Right.
And she says, sit on the couch. I got to feed my pet and take a shower, but I'll take a shower first. And it's about 15 minutes. I'm sitting on the couch, and all in the back, I hear shop. Okay, it was like a knife hitting a board, and I'm going, what the hell? What the hell? Well, I found out later she was chopping the head off of a chicken, a live chicken. Okay. Now I'm sitting on the couch, and she yells out, I'll be out in a few minutes. I'm just getting my food ready for my pet. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting on the couch, and at the bottom of my leg, I feel something. And I look down, and my greatest fear in life, it was a boa constrictor. That was her pet. And I did a backflip over the back of the couch, ran out the door. I don't know what the hell happened, but I think I could have made it in the 60-yard dash to the Olympics.
Yeah.
I mean, and I never went out with this girl again. And to this day, I am still afraid of snakes.
Well,
Yep.
well, before we process this, I need to edit. We're gonna cut right here. I'm gonna come right back because, as a reminder, Zoom only lets 40 minutes go by, and we have 50 seconds left. So I'm gonna cut it. For those who are listening, you're not gonna hear a damn difference. I'm gonna cut it right here. We'll be right back. And we're back. Okay. So boa constrictor, wonderful, absolutely amazing story.
Yeah, and the chop was she chopped the head off of a live chicken.
You know for a fact it was live.
Oh, it had to be. It had to be. It had to be. I mean, I heard the chopping sound, and the smell was probably mice and the chickens that she had in the back. Yeah,
Nice, good.
yeah. So are you bringing
Okay.
Catherine on as a guest now?
So I'm ready to bring Catherine on as a guest now. So if you want to come over here, come on over.
Okay.
So you can say, come here. You can.
Hi, friends.
So this is her.
Hi, how you doing, Catherine?
Good. How are you?
So
Good.
the second topic I wanted to get into, which we don't have to go super far into, but second topic I want to talk about completely. I mean, I guess you can pertain it. I guess you can relate it to first dates and things. We can, but it's separate. Van life. It's something that I have a personal vendetta against, and I think there's a lot of intricacies about it. So for those who don't know, it is not anything new. It's something that's been around since your generation, Geepot. Like people who live in vans. That's what van life is. It's people who live in vans.
Oh,
What?
okay.
Oh, it's
No, okay.
it's people who live in vans. They've got no home. They have a Scooby-Doo van and blankets, pillows, food, and they just live in a van.
Okay, it's cool.
The thing that's changed since your time to mine is now it's become a sort of quirky, trendy lifestyle for people who want to live in smaller or simple lifestyles, and also luxurious people. There's like $100,000 mobile homes that are not RVs. They're like pickup trucks with a whole bed on the back. And so there's a weird mix of people that are traditionally want just a van and a life in a van. And then there's people who are like taking old school buses and renovating them into homes bigger than people have literally in like a physical home. And
Like
they're,
rock stars.
yeah, but they're like better. And so it's a trendy thing. Personally, I am not a fan of van life. I am a 6'7" man. I fit in cars because I need to, not because I want to. I don't want to live in a van. Simultaneously, I get the appeal, right? Especially in America, because you live in a van, you can drive wherever you want. You want to quote unquote live in Idaho for a month? Great. You want to drive all the way to Texas and live there for a month? Great. You can do that. And as long as you have internet of some sort and some income to make so you can pay for gas and food or whatever, great. You can do it. I don't respect to those who do it. It's work, it's hard work, it's lonely work, and it's unnecessary work. But goddamn, it is a journey. So with that, I want your opinion
Okay.
on van life, because I know you know people around you that like van life. And this is not a personal attack on people who like van life. I don't like it because it's not worth it for me.
Right. Okay. So my mom is very much into van life. She doesn't have a van, but she would love to have a van. I think van life is for very specific people. You have to really love it. You have to really commit to the van life, because a lot of them don't have amenities that we have in homes, such as bathrooms and showers. Well,
Some of the more expensive van life vans have full-blown toilets and showers.
right. They will have them in the vans occasionally, and a lot of times because they don't have enough space, they have to put the shower with the toilet,
Yeah.
which is an interesting concept.
Oh, it's a very interesting concept. So
Like,
yeah,
really be committed to that.
for
Yeah.
example, people will have like you'll have a shower and it's literally in this van, right? It's just a curtain or a plastic bag that you put around you to prevent it from getting all over.
Right.
And then to take a crap, there's like a pull out or a retractable seat that takes the same drain that you're showering in and turns it into a toilet. And you just sort of dookie into the same drain.
Very
And,
descriptive. Okay.
you either waffle stomp it down
No.
or
Let
it's just a
Cat-
pipe.
No.
I want to hear Catherine's opinion.
No, that's not how that works at all. So they have a toilet in their shower. So they have a small, like, little shower area
Right.
in their van. But what happens is when they need to use the restroom, they have their own plastic portable toilet that they put in the shower.
Oh, I've seen ones with retractable toilets though. Like it's a literal drawer
In
or
RVs, like where people go camping, or like
no, like
families?
some of the more expensive, like bigger,
Oh,
like the
maybe.
semi, not RV, but not like a van. It's the
Right.
in between the big ones.
Yeah.
They have like retractable ones or ones that
Okay.
are like a flap or something that comes down.
Okay.
So I've
well,
seen ones
maybe.
like that.
Yeah, maybe like that. I've never seen.
I'm
that.
not, they don't waffle stop it. That was a joke.
Yeah,
But
that was a
the,
joke. So, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of people doing van life, and I think a lot of van life people get their money from doing YouTube.
it's, and
That's
that's,
a very big thing. There's a very
it's such an interesting thing.
yeah.
It's so interesting. People who showcase on YouTube, oh, here's van life, my van life, van life. They make money off of showcasing this glorified version. When in reality, when the camera's off and they got to go take a crap, they're taking it out in a bucket behind their car because they don't have a toilet in their van. And, they got to wash their body when it rains because they don't have a shower. They got to go to a gym. They go to
They
a
do
local
have
gym.
water.
No, not
It's-
always.
Not always.
That's what I'm
But
saying. Like some of
it's-
them have literal just bare bones vans and they make it this glorified thing.
But it's not always like as trashy as you would think.
Oh no, I'm not trying to paint it out as
Because
trash.
yeah,
No,
because
no.
a lot of them have really cool amenities,
Right.
and a lot of them really work for people, especially when
Yes.
people who used to live in like New York City or LA and they don't have a lot of money, they choose to do van life because it gives them freedom to travel to different places.
Right?
And for people who don't really care about those kind of amenities like showering or having a private bathroom, or like if you're living with a partner, if you don't really care about having that space, then
Personal space.
yeah, then it works perfect for you.
I think for me, one of the biggest things in terms of social media when it comes to van life is it's that concept that it's more wonderful than it actually is. Because I think there's a lot of people, a lot of van life people that make it look pretty. And it looks pretty for a reason because it's social media. And we don't get to watch them take a dump behind their car in the middle of the woods or like
I don't know.
fix
about
their
that.
fix their tire or take a shower in this cramped space. Because like for me, I would hate it. I would absolutely hate it. I need my personal space. I need more than a van to live in. I'm too big for that. And I don't want to live in an RV. I don't want to live in a mobile home like that. I like a physical home. I like to go on trips. And like if we want to spend a month in a van specifically to go on a trip, great. But I have a home. Like I want a physical apartment or home to go to. So, and I
And
think there's a lot of
do-
what I was saying is I
what-
think there's people out there that are like me who look at it like I like my home, but because certain people don't always show or discuss what's behind it, it looks glorified.
and what do you like about it? Do you like or dislike mobile homes? Vans.
Vans specific mobile
I'm
homes and
talking.
vans
I'm
are-
talking. I'm talking to Catherine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking me.
We heard your opinion.
Sorry.
Anyways, I think that's a good question. I think I'm all for the van life. I don't think that I personally could live that way, but I know a lot of people who would actually love it more than their regular home life. So I think it really depends. For me personally, I don't think I would want to live in it unless, like Peter said, maybe for like a month for like a vacation idea, but not as my permanent home where I have to sleep there and live there the whole time. But
Yeah,
like Peter
had-
was saying, I don't think that it's always
I don't think it's always as chalked up as people say
well,
it
no,
is.
no. I think it is in a sense because on YouTube, I think that there's a lot of van lifers who are very real with people, and a lot of their viewers are people who are really interested in van life and who already are like, there's campers, they like enjoy going camping, and then there's like those campers who are like really in the deep
Like
wood
3 times a
campers.
year, 4
Yeah,
times
they're
a year,
really
they're
into it. They're all the
Yeah.
equipment.
Mhm.
So I think those viewers who are watching it already understand the van life concept. So it's not like them being like, wow, this is amazing. They already know the grit of van life. I think
I
for people
strongly
who maybe
disagree with
are
that.
like don't know too much about it, it might be.
I think it depends on the person.
But I think a lot of van life viewers are already van lifers. So
Disagree. I disagree with that because I
No.
think I think there's a lot of people that like and glorify the concept of living in nature because America is such a difficult place to live in right now. And I think the idea of being able to live rent-free where you want and how you want is a very desirable concept right now. So I think there are a significant amount of high school and middle school people that watch stuff like that and think it's a very wonderful lifestyle, but don't actually know what it takes and what it costs. And if they were actually do it, they'd hate it. So I disagree with that. I think
Mm.
I wouldn't say most of the demographic. I would say there's, because we don't know, it's Schrodinger's cat. We don't know the demographic. They may be very interested, but they may still be 17 and have nothing to do with anything with nature because they live in New York City.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose. I guess it's probably a different kind of family.
So I think though there may be people that are adamant and favoring it,
Yeah.
I don't think just because they're a follower of it or a deep follower. It's like, for example, I love watching Magnus Midtboe, rock climber. I know a lot of stuff about rock climbing because I've learned it from him. I don't rock climb. We went once for my birthday.
Yeah.
I like I'd like to do rock climbing or bouldering, but I don't rock climb. I don't boulder,
Yeah.
and I'm old enough. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from.
so that's where I take that from.
See, in my
Why?
day, say you were a high school senior, just got your license. If you had a van, wow.
You were
Okay.
Scooby Doo. You were a hippie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
You were going to Woodstock.
yeah, not me, but you know, I don't know how any father would let his daughter go out with a guy who's driving a van, but that's another story. I had one occasion to be in a motorhome. I had a friend who had a beautiful motorhome, and it was your grandmother's close friend, and her husband had a motorhome, and he was, from Wall Street, and his breakaway thing was to go to all the car races. He used to follow him around when he was on vacation and whatever. And he said, "Come with us. We're going to go camping." I wouldn't go to the races. I don't like races. Okay, those kind of races. And he had everything in there. The only thing was, we went to a beautiful campsite. You can go to a nice campsite, or you can go to a campsite where you better have a gun when you get out of the
Yeah.
out of your vehicle.
Yeah.
But if it rains, and it rains very, very hard, you're in the vehicle, and no matter how big it is, you're still enclosed, and you need all these extra activities in there to keep you happy. But he did have a large bathroom back there. For me, it was large. I just don't like to go into bathrooms on planes and on things like that. But it was elegant, and we went around. I didn't enjoy it, either did your grandmother. I would have liked to have been in a nice hotel room, but I could see how people could want to go from one place to another. And like I said, my friends who were in high school and college who had vans, they had it for a specific purpose, and it was not my ideal, because I didn't think it was what I wanted to do with a girl or my girlfriend, because right away people get the wrong idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like to think of van life similar to something like cave diving, where it's very much for a specific type of people. You gotta wanna cave dive to do cave diving's not like basketball where you're like, yeah, I'll pick up basketball with some buddies. You don't go, yeah, I'll go cave diving with some buddies. I'll learn how to cave dive and rappel and crawl through 30-centimeter spaces where my head barely fits through. And I got to exhale all the air out of my lungs to make a 25-foot crawl. No, you know what I mean? Like, for the people who do it, great. You find excitement possibly dying in these really tiny holes called devil's anus. Great. Good for you.
Yeah, but
Beautiful. And mind you, at the end of them, there's beautiful sights, and then they crawl out, and it's a wonderful event. But you gotta wanna do it. So that's how I look at van life, is you gotta wanna live that life.
Yeah, well, I can understand why Catherine's mom would like to have a van, right?
Yeah, she actually sleeps outside right now of our apartment. Yeah.
She sleeps under the stars.
She does like to do that.
That was a very elegant way of saying that. Deepa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She has a beautiful room in our apartment, just like newly renovated, and she wants to sleep outside. So
Right,
she is
yeah.
all about the van life, all
Very
about
earthy.
living, you
Right.
know, in a
To-
tent,
to-
in a lean-to.
Right. Well, to each their own. That's why,
Right.
that's exactly why I said it's like cave diving.
Yeah,
You gotta be that kind of person. And I think it's,
to-
and I think
yeah.
with, when it comes to like social media, I think it at times gets glorified to where there are people who will never, have never, and don't ever actually want to live a van life, but because it looks good, they're like, yeah, I want to do it. And then you give them a week and they're like, no, I can't do this because it's too hard. You
Hey,
gotta want to live.
to each his own. You can't
Right.
criticize it. As long as you're happy, you only go through life one time, and
I agree.
you know.
I agree.
know,
And
that's
hey,
all.
I mean, look, to bring it all the way back around and to close it out, why not on a first date? If you got two van lifers on a first date, you guys should race. Whoever wins gets to pay for the meal that day. You may go broke for the next month because that's all you got, but
No, what you got to do is whoever has a
you
van.
race the vans. You race them in the
No,
woods. You take your two
in-
vans and you race them
See,
But
in my
like-
day,
to the finish line. Like
in,
you said
in
about
my
finish
in my day, the significance of a van was which van was painted the most beautiful.
Oh,
Well, because the prettiest one had the best orgies.
oh,
The vans were gorgeous. People would have their vans painted. It was gorgeous.
Well,
And
yeah,
they-
because you guys had artistic events and Woodstock and things. You guys could show off your vans.
Well, you know, but like I said, if some guy pulled up in a van to date your mother, let's say, when she was young, he'd go flying out of the house
They should
because
do.
my daughter wouldn't go in a van. I wouldn't let her go in a van, especially in today's society.
Well, in
where-
today's society, you can't go in white vans. Remember, white vans
do you-
are really bad.
what do you mean? white
Don't
vans?
accept candy from strangers in white vans.
I don't get that.
That was the thing I had to be taught growing up, was that I shouldn't accept strangers' candy. I shouldn't help anyone with their puppy or their groceries if I'm a kid, because if any adult tries to tell me that and they're in a white van, that means they're trying to abduct me into
Hmm.
sex slavery
Okay.
or
So
sell
anyway,
me or like kill me.
Okay. Anyway, we talked about dating. So dating has to be a foremost memory of mine because I haven't had a date in 45 years, 46 years. So I got to remember the good parts of my dates and the good times with your grandmother. Today, everybody's always saying to me, "You're a catch. You can see, you could drive, you could hear. Why don't you date? You could dance. Why don't you go out?" Nah, dating is just a memory for me. But I hope that you enjoy all your future dates and that the date you had with Catherine yesterday will always be memorable for you.
Thank you. Yeah, for those who don't know, yesterday I went on a belated birthday date surprise event for her. I took her into the city and did a bunch of stuff because her birthday was on August 30th. She likes to fuck with me as much as she can to say it's on the 31st, and it gets me
Mhm.
anxiety every time.
I want to correct something you just said.
Go ahead.
Every time I went out with your grandmother, it was a date.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
every
that's fair.
time, yes. Yes,
We
okay.
always try and make dates out of everything. Even if it's just hanging out, we always try to like
Yeah.
watch a movie or do something fun. But yeah, I took her out for her birthday because I couldn't see her on the 30th. So I surprised her with a trip to New York, dinner, and her favorite movie is Beetlejuice. And so I took her to see the musical Beetlejuice. Very funny, highly recommend. Yeah, it's really, really good. So yeah, that's what I did.
Okay. By the way, Elvis is on HBO Max.
Oh, and Rick and Morty season 6 is going to come out. If
Yeah,
we're
I was-
plugging.
Yeah, I was watching that for a little bit.
So for
Okay.
those who are interested, Elvis and Rick and Morty are great. And
Great,
for those who want to find a good
doubleheader.
spot in New York, Lower Manhattan, Pier 17, Jean George's Marketplace.
Okay.
Amazing, amazing food, amazing stuff. Malibu Farm, very fresh, vegan, gluten-free. Really nice. There's a couple other restaurants there. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. There's a whole little like area down there too,
Yeah.
shops and bookstops. So
I think
with
we have
that,
to say goodbye. We have to say goodbye.
we have to say goodbye. If anyone has experience with van life or knows anyone with van life, let us know. You can, or if you have any opinions on anything we said today, whatever you're watching this,
Labor Day.
message me, contact me through whatever means. If you know me, if you know him, contact him. If you know her, contact her. I'm
Me,
pointing for
him, and her.
those who are listening. I just pointed a lot. I'm sorry. If you know any of us and you want any of your stories put on here, anonymous or not, let us know. We can do that. Even if it's completely unrelated or slightly related. By God, do it. Like, share, comment, send it to all your friends and family. Let's start chaos in your homes. If they disagree, show them. I love you all.
Keep
Peace
dating.
out.
Keep dating.
Keep dating.
Peace
Peace
out.
out.
Okay.